On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Over time, in which that wasn't something that he was at the time, or that's not something that, he presented at the time, but that's something that eventually he fell into for whatever reason. How do you react to that as a woman, or how do you deal with that as a woman?
That's a good question, and I appreciate it, and thank you for your condolences. Having actually been around drug addicts, that's a real tough one. I would not leave immediately if he gained some sort of addiction to drugs or to gambling or something like that. I would do my best to try to help him out of that, to try to help him cope with whatever it is that's going on with him, that's driving him to that addiction, because typically there is an underlying issue that drives people to certain addictions. And they're trying to cope somehow with something.
I don't know, because I'm thinking about marriages like you see Will Smith and who's this, Jada? Right. You see their marriage is kind of like she changed and Will Smith kind of let her do this, and I don't think that he should have let her change into what she changed into. So I think it depends on what kind of changes we're talking about, because I don't know. I think it's best to just remain firm in your vows and remain firm in who you guys were, and just improve together, as improving, not changing your personality and changing the dynamics of the marriage and all of that. I don't think you should do that. I think you should keep your marriage as it works. If it worked in the beginning, keep it that way. And yeah, I just think I'd only believe in improving. That's it.
And that marriage, the devil is in that marriage. I can't do it, bro.
Crimson Cure, should the marriage adapt to changes or remain firm with their vows?
You got to remain firm with your vows. Change, and I agree with Amira, you got to define changes, because we should be evolving into better people together, not, we went our separate ways. Why'd you go your separate way? What happened? Why did you develop into this completely other person than the person that you married? I think if we go a little bit deeper, when people say they grew apart and you're now this completely different person, that just means you came out of your bag. You went on ahead and dropped your mask. You wasn't really that person. Or we got married dishonestly. I was capping. Somebody was capping. Then we got married. And I could not uphold that anymore. And the real me kept coming out until I couldn't hold that no more. Now I'm this completely different person. I want to go on this completely different trajectory and all of this type of stuff. You have to keep the foundation firm, because if we got married honestly, and when I say honestly, I mean you were who you really were and I was who I really am, and we got married based on that understanding and that knowledge, and my husband gave me his vision and I agreed to that vision. I agreed to help him meet that vision. That's why they call it a help meet, because I'm supposed to help him meet the goal, the vision. I'm supposed to help him do that. I agreed with that, however, X amount of time ago. That didn't stop. That agreement didn't stop just because I woke up and felt different. That agreement didn't stop because he made me mad yesterday. That agreement didn't stop because I made him mad last week. The agreement is still the agreement. And I think that's part of, and I'm kind of diverging. I'm going to let somebody else speak in a moment. But that's kind of part of why these marriages fail so easily. Nobody got no staying power. Things is going to change. They gonna change. Can you roll with that change? Can you keep up with that change? When I got married 20 some years ago in 98, I married a healthy man that was working. 4 years into that marriage, he got diagnosed with end-stage renal disease, and he wasn't working no more for the duration of that marriage till he passed away. That was a change. Now I could have said, well, you know, I married a man that was working, and blah, 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 yeah, I'm gone. Or you were in it for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for sickness, for health, for death, you in it for that then. You either meant them vows or you didn't mean them vows. Which one was it? And not until you get mad and then now you feel some type of way. Now you gotta let me be quiet. Let me let somebody else talk.
Oh, let me ask you a question.
Wait, Crimson, let me.
Aren't
Go
you agree
ahead.
with me? Because I
Right,
said to
that's
adopt
what
the
I thought.
changes, and so that's a change. That's the worst part. So
That's what I thought too.
yeah, I think we're saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I got a question. First, let me just say that you absolutely dope. I think that you are the epitome of what a great woman is, especially considering what it is that I've just learned about you when you holding him down and, you know, for the duration of that. So I want to extend my condolences before I even ask a question and just say that I rock with you. I think that you're absolutely awesome. I watched you on a live stream with Amira the other day and I thought you was cooking. Okay. Until that guy tried to get on without a shirt, but that's a whole other conversation. But so let me ask you a hypothetical question, because you posed this or you presented a scenario, you know, your real life, in which it was something that, you know, I don't know anything about the disease, but apparently he couldn't help it, right? It was just, that was life. That just kind of kicked in, right? What about a circumstance or a situation in which, let's just say the guy, right? The guy, because I know Kay, for example, said the other day that barring some physical abuse that you need to stick it out no matter what. What if the marriage devolves as a result of something that's extreme, such as he got a gambling problem or he wound up developing a drug habit as a result of, you know, an extreme drug habit as a result of, you know, or over time, in which that wasn't something that he was at the time, or that's not something that, you know, he presented at the time, but that's something that eventually he fell into for whatever reason. How do you react to that as a woman, or how do you deal with that as a woman?
That's a good question, and I appreciate it, and thank you for your condolences. Having actually been around drug addicts, that's a real tough one. I would not leave immediately if he gained some sort of addiction to drugs or to gambling or something like that. I would do my best to try to help him out of that, to try to help him cope with whatever it is that's going on with him, that's driving him to that addiction, because typically there is an underlying issue that drives people to certain addictions. And they're trying to cope somehow with something.